I think we are live. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Hope you can hear me well. Welcome to this Wednesday, alternate Wednesday YouTube live. I would like to know if we are actually live, so I'll quickly go and drop on my YouTube channel to see if you can hear me well. I think that's about it. Give me a second, or if anybody has joined me yet, it would be good to get a hello from you as well. Yeah, I think it is live, and I see that 10 people are already kind of watching, which is good stuff. Good stuff, guys. So, okay, so topic for today is India's 8.2% GDP. I'll say a shocker. Of course, I also wrote about it in the media, and we were, of course, much expecting greater than 7, which was the kind of estimate everybody was putting out. But 8.2 was really, really, a big surprise there. So क्या करेंगे? Of course, we'll review as part of our usual Wednesday. We'll review the market. We'll of course open the chart if needed. We'll of course open the dashboards to kind of see if we want to know which sectors have kind of some strength. Markets are weak, as we all have been saying. Even though Nifty is all-time high, um, you know, your portfolios are not. Your portfolio is still sitting at 10%, 15% in negative, which is understandable. It is only because that the broad market, right, has not hit the all-time high. So in the broad market, so Nifty 50 is a very poor representation of, I'll say, broad market. Because Nifty 50 simply means large cap companies, which is not the real breadth of the market. Of course, it does represent the top sectors of our country, and therefore it give a sense of the health of the economy for sure. पर अगर आपको मार्केट समझना है, हाय रॉबिन, हेलो सर, शिवराज एंड प्रसन्ना, थैंक्स. So if you have to understand the breadth of the broad market, I think the Nifty 500 or Nifty Total Market Index, which is 750, comes really handy. So क्या कर सकते हैं? We can of course talk about these numbers. So अगर मैं आपको numbers maybe I'll first kind of take you through. देखो आप देख, I mean the topic as of course I wanted to choose was GDP. The reason was markets pulled back right from that all-time high, and even though the numbers came out as say 6 quarters high, which means more than a year, kind of higher number, but Nifty has been dropping today, or even dropping in the last 3 sessions, even after hitting the all time high last week. And I know in the fraternity, the in the investment fraternity, the this all-time high was not celebrated with that kind of band baza, only for the fact that we all know that not your portfolios are sitting at that level. ठीक है, so अगर numbers की बात करें, as I said, 7 to 7.5, 7.2, 7.3 was the kind of economist estimate overall, right? And now, of course, it is towards that 8%, and we still remain the fastest growing, I'll say, major economy. So in all our meetings the last 2 years, we have been saying, and again I'll say the same thing, that structurally India is structurally very well placed, but at the end of the day, you look for your returns, you look for markets, you look for paisa kab banega, and it's not very long ago if you see cycles where 2 year period, 3 year period are just sideways market. Now, abhi ke liye, if you see the rupee crisis, right? What is happening? If you're seeing dollar and rupee USD, I think, which is the second part of my thumbnail, which you have noticed, if you have noticed, this is a current rupee crisis which is happening, right? And wherever the FIs are keep pulling back, so there is a clear disconnect, right? If you see from what retail kind of would expect when the market when the money is put in the market, and now Ronak is saying multi-factors portfolio is doing good, and I'm very surprised that Ronak is also happy, because Ronak, I think, has been Ronak, thanks for your message. I mean, you are one of the members who have been very active with us in terms of asking questions, giving feedback, and good to note that we are doing all right. Now, Sanjeev is saying at the same time that Alpha Plan is not doing all right, which I totally agree and understand. momentum and alpha are kind of factors which absolutely really takes a lot of beating, right, in such market conditions. Now let's talk about you know some more numbers, right? So of course the Moody's and the big four, I mean the guys of the world will now upgrade or have been upgrading the forecast because of the numbers which came out. तो इन numbers का एक simple सा मतलब ये होता है कि it basically confirms that there will be a corporate earning tailwind. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि numbers of GDP are coming out to a certain number and if corporate makes that GDP, if the corporate profit growth makes that GDP, then it simply mean that the earning per share of Nifty will absolutely be higher than this number, right? If you see this way, which means a good two-digit number, 10-12% kind of Nifty EPS. If you think this way, we simply mean that if you look that perspective, Nifty can reach. I don't want to quote a number uh, to it, but if you think from that 10-12% kind of number, we may say that Nifty could hit whatever 27,000, 28,000, right? By the next 6 months, if it has to. Again, a disclaimer. I don't know. Anyways, nobody knows. But the whole point is, so Nifty earnings will grow, which is because that GDP number is also kind of putting in that direction. But is the market cheap, right? That's the question which keeps coming back. If you buy something at higher price, it is very difficult for you to make money. If you look from a broad market, Nifty 50, the part of the IT, the part of the financial services, I'll say they are good valued. So there you see value unlocking and money can be made. But if you think from a broad market where you all are involved, where your alpha baskets are there, or where your mid small momentum baskets are kind of present, if you look from that perspective, Indian markets right now, mid and small, are not cheap, right, at all, right? They are expensive. When I say they're expensive, they are of course trading much higher than their, say, the multiple of price to book. If you see in a very single line answer. So so again, which simply mean that we may again on a mid and small cap space may need more consolidation of time because markets may not be able to crash at all because of the kind of inflow we provide, the kind of domestic support we have. So what we have seen in 2008 or 2020 for that matter, but 2008, right, the kind of big crashes of index going to 50% and above, I don't think that kind of market structure is available today because of the nature of the flow in the market, and therefore हमें उतने बड़े प्राइस करेक्शन तो नहीं मिलेंगे। मार्केट थकाएगा बहुत और लाएगा बहुत स्लो रहेगा because of the nature of the kind of bull run we have seen in a form 3-4 years ago, and now it is commanding a 1.5-2 year kind of a sideway market. But ये सब चीजें पहले भी हो चुकी हैं. It's not a big thing, right? And therefore the only thing which matters for you is time in the market. As I said in the beginning, the problem started with, I mean, the problem of today, for example, is INR is breaching 90, right, per USD. I mean, I think first time ever, FPI, I think, took out what, 15,000 crore in November alone. I remember I keep telling in these lives. I remember, my article in Times of India Economic Times in September last year talking about highest ever flow of FPI. And exactly a year later, now more than a year, we've been just seeing all of the outflows. So such big numbers, right, in terms of, what do you call FI outflow plus rupee becoming weak. If you see that comparison, and that simply means that our foreign reserves, if you see the impact, our our forex reserves basically is getting burned, right? If you see this way, because now we need more money to put in to buy that dollar, and therefore our reserves are ultimately getting a hit. Now, what can support in the current market condition? Because dollar is strong, is IT, which holds up, and we had been seeing even in the short-term basis also that IT has been the pick up the down. And if you see in our weekly rebalance strategy, sector, you see a lot of exposure to IT coming, etc. PSU had a good ride for sure. Now profit booking will absolutely come because a very fast movement came in last 3-4 months to the likes of say 30-40% in across all PSUs banks, which of course will command profit booking for sure. However, if you look from a price to book perspective, all these PSU banks are still available, I'll say at a good price. So no worries from a long-term investor point of view, right? Now, I'll keep taking question in case. So Sanjeev Goli saying alpha blend नहीं perform कर रहा सर और time लगेगा मैं यही कह सकता हूँ. Vamshi Krishna is asking, can you help with how alpha blend performed when the market is good and how much alpha generated, and then when market down, how much down it went? Yeah, so Vamshi, this is very clearly available on the small case website. You can also go to our micro site where from the day of its inception, which is 9 November, every single day movement, a line chart is created. You can compare that line chart with any of the index, or if you don't want to compare with the index, you can simply download that chart data in an Excel sheet and see the movement per day, per week, per month. So you will know that what is the maximum drawdown and upside. In case you need help, of course, book a meeting with us and our team can really help you. Rajat Gupta ji is asking, when are you going to start with bi-monthly rebalance and alpha blend as every time it goes down, even market was up? Nahin, Rajat, that's again a very weak statement. I'll say sorry for that, but maybe I'll say that alpha blend is outperforming today, right? If I say that alpha blend, if I see maybe in green or not in red when the markets are bleeding, that doesn't mean that I can take any credit to why alpha blend is green today, or it was green in the morning. At least when I checked my system, it was absolutely green. When broad market is 0.5% down and a small case is green, that doesn't mean that that has any value to what I'm saying, because ultimately it doesn't matter, right? When Yeah, so it's now kind of 0.5%, but in the morning it was green when markets were down. So it's never the case. Of course, you have to look from a yearly perspective. If in year it is not beating the index, you are absolutely right. In 2 years, 3 years, and whether we will move it to a shorter term rebalance, of course we will. When markets are in that kind of support, right? In that kind of what you call momentum, if you see this way. Now coming back to our topic, of course I'm open to questions and I can show you the system also. Now talk about consumption. So I think our GST consumption, GST collections are not rising. If I have read it right, and even the numbers which came out from IIP and etc. Right, I think it also grew very small, 0.5% and all of that. Right. Even the sectors such as say core sectors. My second question was bi-monthly rebalancing is a tough market. Bi-monthly. Yes, so in tough market, bi-monthly may not be right. In a good market, shorter rebalance is good because you can take out opportunities and enter and re-enter and book out profits. In a weak market, it's always good to remain with the quality companies and then add money in the drawdowns, right, rather than churning out too much. Yeah, so I was saying that core sector numbers, steel, cement, sector, etc. All came out, I think, right, recently. And so if you look from a contribution to GDP, I'll say capex driven contribution is higher versus say consumption driven. If you see valuation, we talked about already, and I'll take the question in case that we are still trading at maybe 20 times multiple of the earnings, right? Which is, I'll say, not at all cheap because we forget about the history and we only want to see the last few years. So because a lot happened in the last 2 months, a lot of rally happened in the last 2 months in auto components, in auto, in metal, in PSU. This will keep coming back into say booking, whatever we call it, booking profits, or people who kind of stuck in their baskets, they are kind of coming out as soon as the a market give them any exit. So don't panic, right? Position yourself for the earning cycles, which should be good. Now let's talk about our own. I mean, I can give you a very theoretical view on the sectors that you can now be a little bit overweight on IT, say pharma, cement, kind of play, financials, of course, and you can start to kind of give some hold on energy and kind of kind of auto as well because a lot of move has happened, so it's time of consolidation there. And this way, that's how I will kind of put it this way, and I will also now log in quickly to show you how we are doing in the system from a perspective of broad market. So I'm quickly logging in right now. Give me a second. So right now the screen I'll share will simply give you kind of a view of the sectors which are looking all right. This is as of yesterday. Of course, it won't have today's data for sure. I hope you can see my screen. So as you know that this picture is not as rosy as we always want it to be, but it is much better than what we used to be reviewing together, where everything used to be in the last quadrant here, but now things have spread out and spreading out, where things are moving into a weekly bearish trajectory, kind of placement from strongly bearish. Also, if you see from a weekly bearish to now to a weekly bullish, so money was made to be made in these sectors for sure. But yeah, if you see from a perspective of strongly bullish, there is none. If I put all my broad market here, right, in terms of Nifty 50 and all of that, you see not a great picture to see. None of these sectors are broad market sectors are really doing the justice, right? So that's where I mean there's nothing more. I mean I can of course share in our AMA meeting which will happen on the weekend of 20th. So 20th December we'll meet, we'll talk about MF, we'll talk about mutual funds, how they're performing, where the industry is moving, where the DI flow is coming. And we'll next, anyways, our next Wednesday will be 17th. Anyways, right? So we'll anyway catch up in 2 weeks from now. In in between, if you have questions to us, do reach out to us anytime on our support number. That number starts with chat.golfi.app on a WhatsApp, and you can always book a meeting with our team on meet.golfi.app. So that's my job to tell you that every time. Uh, any other question? No, there's no other question. So yeah, let me also quickly open chart if that gives you some kind of more confidence. Uh, so some stocks, of course, are going through a bit of. I mean, today our markets are tough, right? Good, but good to see that the overall structure is all right, and the space we are operating in terms of um, good structure, in terms of our universe, in terms of Golfi universe, I think we are structurally placed very well. So I'm sure that not very far from now, from 2-3 months now maybe. So let me just share the screen. I don't know if it make any sense to you to, I mean, then you can of course ignore all of these names. But yeah, if you see, nobody on a higher frame can say that Nifty ever had a problem. This correction, which is deeper, looks nothing right that way. And when you look at higher frames, right, of course, we peaked out here, right? That's what we keep saying. So October we peaked out. So the period till March when we had market bleeded was really tough. And of course, April, May, June, July came for our kind of saved us. And then of course, Nifty is doing all right. Now, if you see from a very short frame perspective, let's say daily. Yeah, so markets hit their all-time high, which you can see here. Right, this was the time when market hits Yeah, so from September to now, it finally after September 24, and market had a all-time high. Market had again an all-time high in exactly 1 year, 2 days, 2 months, 1 year, 2 months later. And that's very natural. But the structure is not breaking. Of course, on a lower frame it looks crazy, but on a higher frame is all right. But that was I was saying about Nifty 500, right? If you look at broad market, is it CNX 500 we call it? CNX 500. Yeah, if you look at Nifty 500 index, right? I think we are yet to achieve the peak. And this is where, this is where the peak was last year, September 24th and 23rd September 2024. And then if you see it couldn't make a higher high, or how you put it. So yeah, we are still far from its all-time high broad market, and you only start seeing a recovery in your baskets once you see that we are nearly reaching that point. Small cap index sector will always be painful. Small cap 250. Small cap 250 is very far from its all-time high, which was here. It was in again September, the same date, where everything peaked out. And if you see how far we are still far, around 12, 13%, right on the index level of small cap to reach to go back to glory. So if your portfolio is down 12, 13%, also I don't think it is too much down. Anyways, because you are just part of the market, and as you see, small cap index is down 13% from its peak, and you all came during the peak, right? Last 1 year, guys who are with us, they came after the peak. They came at the peak in October, and you are finishing 1 year. So if you're even 12% down, you are okay. In many of the baskets you are in positive, you're making a lot of returns, you're beating Nifty, which is great because you could diversify, right? You could put into multiple baskets. But in case you are stuck with one basket which is down 12, 13%, I think nothing to worry, because if you see the broad market itself is down in that fashion. So nothing to worry as such, right? You're not alone in the market who is facing this. So people who said that no money is made in the last 1.5 year, it's not about no money made, it's about that people are sitting index level. People who put in index funds, small cap index funds, they're sitting at 13% negative anyways. So don't worry, is the whole point. Because the only thing you confuse yourself with when markets are falling, you shift to Nifty 50 and say Nifty 50 is only 2% away. Why I am 10% away? When markets give you premium, when markets give you that extra alpha, then you stop looking at Nifty and say, oh, Nifty, let Nifty be. I want to beat Nifty, right? I mean, that's where the psychological angle comes into picture, and we change our reference point. So if you are a small mid cap investor, please don't look at Nifty 50 returns and confuse yourself. If you are a large cap investor, then absolutely your basket has to support balanced multi-asset, which absolutely is doing much better than kind of broad market. So depending on what investor you are, which category of size of the companies your most comfort is, because ultimately it is to do with volatility. Market is volatile. So if you are comfortable with small cap, small cap index, keep referencing and see whether you're able to beat the small cap index. If not, then of course it's a matter of time. You will, but trust the process. Any other question? Anybody would like to ask me? Otherwise, we'll speak in 2 weeks. And then, of course, a detailed Zoom meeting to talk about what we were saying, AMA, like Ask Me Anything, a private Zoom, where you all welcome to join. A lot of new people have joined us over the last 1 month. So I am sure you are a part of our WhatsApp community. If not, do reach out to our support number. It's a one-way broadcast community where we are able to send you updates whenever we are, say, doing rebalance sector. So that's about the market, GDP, rupee, US, INR, GST collections. I think, yeah, that's about it. Anything else I can help you? Any other question? No question. It was lovely. It was lovely to catch up and speak to you soon. Take care, everyone.